And we are back. What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar coming at you guys from GenJag.com, and the Jaguars just wrapped up 2 days of joint practices with the defending Super Bowl champion, the New England Patriots, before we face off against them on Thursday in the preseason opener. Now, in this video, we are going to recap what went on over the 2-day joint practice session and just have some takeaways. Enjoy the time here. Let's get it. So these joint practices were pretty up and down for the Jaguars. On Monday, the Jaguars actually played pretty well. I heard Bortles was pretty sharp, the offense was playing well, and even the defense was doing good. But then on Tuesday, it was kind of the opposite. Blake Bortles didn't play too well. His completion percentage wasn't too hot. The offensive line wasn't getting much push, and the secondary was getting roasted a little bit. Now, this obviously isn't something that you want to hear. I mean, obviously you want to hear that the Jaguars are doing really well, but for me, I'm really not too concerned just yet, just because this is a New England Patriots. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. They're a dynasty, and this team that they have on the field this year might be the best team in the last 15 years of football. I mean, this is really the best team probably since the Patriots went undefeated, only losing that Super Bowl against the Giants. The Patriots are just light years ahead of the Jaguars right now, as the Jaguars are a young team. They're trying to figure out how the hell have a winning culture. They're coming off a 3-13 year after the Patriots went on a Super Bowl championship run. And the New England Patriots, according to ESPN's football index, or whatever it's called, FPI, they have a 51% chance of making it to the Super Bowl. Now, the Patriots have a greater chance to make it into the Super Bowl than all the other teams in AFC combined. And with that said, if the Jaguars are to go to when the Jaguars host the Buccaneers next week, if the Jaguars don't play well, it's going to be kind of concerning to me, because I mean, even though the Bucs just went 9-7, I feel like we're pretty even talent-wise. I mean, both the teams have a lot of good things going on for them, but I think the Buccaneers will be a lot more on our playing level, and if we struggle against the Buccaneers, then I'm going to be a little bit concerned. But when it comes to Bortles, I guess this was probably his second bad practice out of this whole training camp period, but, all words is that Bortles actually having a pretty decent camp, but Bortles is under such a microscope right now. Whenever he plays bad, there's going to be people hating on him. And, he's obviously a big part of the team. So a lot of people already had their reservations about him. So, we'll see. Of course, I'm going to be holding more of my judgment for him until the regular season starts. I'm not going to be really over-enthused by anything that he does during the preseason. But, of course, if he plays bad, then it's going to be concerning. But I want to touch on a few other things. First of all, our wide receiving core has apparently been doing really good. Now, Marquise Lee is kind of trending up, and Allen Hurns is trending down a little bit, because Allen Hurns got injured at the Monday's practice, and he actually had to be evaluated inside of the stadium. Now, no word has really come out with the severity of his injury, but I'm really not too worried about what happened to him, just because usually I feel like when big injuries happen, there's a lot more talk about it. There's a lot more discussion going on about it. But apparently Allen Hurns' injury, he got down, he came back up a little bit, and I think walked around a little bit, but then they decided to evaluate him. So it's not something that the Jaguars are really talking about a lot. So hopefully it's only like a 2-3 week injury. Hopefully it's not too long, but I really doubt it's going to be a season ender. But Marquise Lee has been turning a lot of heads. He's shown a lot of, good agility. He's shown a lot of good route running, stuff like that. So that's good to see out of Marquise Lee. Hopefully he can build on the year that he had last year. And for you fantasy guys out there, he's definitely a good fantasy sleeper. But A-Rob, of course, A-Rob's doing A-Rob things. He's been pretty consistent all throughout camp. And also Westbrook, he's added on some good stuff. He continues to show that quick twitch type of playmaking that he has to offer. But also Dante Fowler Jr., he continues to show a lack of maturity on the field. I mean, in today's practice, I guess he had pretty much 2 personal fouls within 10 minutes. I guess him and Dion Lewis are really getting at it. He like apparently had a really bad face mask on him, and they're jawing off all of practice, which really pissed Doug Marrone off. But Doug Marrone, this coaching staff is really trying to get him into like race maturity, as he's had all kinds of like bad on-field problems. I mean, during the scrimmage, he was like, during a Friday practice at Everbank, he was like taking laps around the field after hitting Chad Henne. So, I mean, he's a physical beast, but I'm really excited to see him for myself, to really evaluate him for myself against the Bucs, to see what he really has to offer. Now, one very disappointing thing throughout this training camp is just the lack of cornerbacks that we've had. I mean, AJ Boye has been playing really well throughout training camp, but today he was sitting out of like the 11-on-11 team activity type of stuff for I don't know why they didn't really release it, but with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Colvin out. Now, Aaron Colvin's a big question mark. We have no idea what the hell is going on with him. I mean, we know Jalen Ramsey's recovering from his surgery, but Aaron Coleman's a big question mark. And one reason why our defense is getting torched out there is because we had Patman, Dixon, and Josh Johnson out there starting at cornerback. So, when you face that off against Brandon Cooks, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, stuff like that, that's a little bit of a recipe for disaster. But also, I know I made my Brandon Albert video last night. I'm not going to talk about him too much this video, but the Jaguars did release a statement regarding him. I guess they shifted his status to like retired. I don't know what they're doing with him. Honestly, for all I care, this guy can take a long walk on a short freaking pier. This guy's driving me crazy. This guy's driving the team crazy. I feel like he's just using the Jaguars. He's just trying to milk out as much money as he can. I have no idea what to speculate on this guy and what he's doing. I can't get in his head. There's really so many different scenarios that could be going on with him, so I'm just going to leave that at that. But when it comes to the offensive line, it seems like Patrick Omameh will be our starting left guard. He's been taking the most reps there. Apparently he has been looking pretty solid, so I guess that's an alright sign. But when it comes to the left tackle position, Doug Marrone's making Cam Robinson work for that starting spot, as Josh Wells has been taking most of the first team reps. But I definitely fully expect him to be our left tackle. I really doubt that Josh Wells is going to be lining up week 1 against the Houston Texans. But yeah, those are kind of individual players. But going back to what I said earlier about just the kind of practices that we've been having, apparently today they were doing pretty well. The Jaguars were doing pretty well in one-on-one type stuff and 7-on-7 and smaller group kind of stuff. Apparently they were, all the kind of assets of the team were doing pretty well. But then once they got to that together in 11-on-11s, they just didn't do good and the team didn't look sharp. But once again, it's the Patriots, Super Bowl champions. So really, I'm really interested to see how they do. Definitely in the preseason again, that'll be interesting. But also just against the Buccaneers, because I feel like that's two really evenly matched teams. So that'll be really interesting for me to see. But really, to sum things up, I think it's really awesome that we were able to have these joint practices against the Patriots. It gave this team a look at how this organization runs and how a championship team runs things. I mean, that's really cool how we were able to really match up against them in the week 1 of the preseason. So hopefully they took some good things away from this. Hopefully some players learned some things, and it'll make us a better team going forward. But yeah, that pretty much wraps things up for me. Thursday, I'll be doing a live pregame show. I'll probably start at 6 o'clock. No, probably either 6 or 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I haven't really figured it out. Maybe even right in the middle. I got to figure out how the hell to live stream. But yeah, with all that said, oh yeah, one more thing. I want to give a shout out to the Facebook group We Are Jaguars. It's actually run by Generation Jaguar, so I'm actually an admin of the group. I'll put a link down below. Definitely join the group. There's a lot of Jaguar talk going on, and I would definitely love for you guys to be in there. But with that said, this is UCF Jaguar coming at you guys from GenJag.com. I'm out.